Hello, good morning. Welcome to a new UnvexLive 2024 webinar. As you know, the most international edition of this exhibition will take place in Barcelona from June 4 to 6. UnvexLive is the only event of its kind in Europe addressed at the entire unmanned systems community. This event will integrate all application, transport, security, and commercial, and all domains, air, sea, on land, to generate a truly professional conversation for all stakeholders. And in this webinar, we are going to know the vision of the users. For that, today we have with us some prominent users and experts in the sector. With us will be Pere Ferrer, Director of Mossos d'Esquadra, which is the police of Catalonia. Mr. Ferrer was Chief of Staff of the Mobility Department of Barcelona City Council. He then spent several years working in the Department of the Interior before becoming Director General. We will also be joined in this webinar by Antonio González, Safety Promotion Officer at European Aviation Safety Agency, EASA. Mr. González worked for British Airways and the European Central Bank until he joined the European Aviation Safety Agency in 2006. And we will have the intervention of Diego Andrés López, a plant inspector of the oil company Cepsa. Mr. López has more than 12 years of experience in the inspection department of this company. After the presentation, we will have a few minutes to answer some questions that you can already leave us in this application. Well, now, for a moment, the head of UnvexLive, Alberto Corres, is going to give an initial greeting before starting. Mr. Corres, when you want, turn on your camera and your microphone to say good morning.
Okay.
Good morning, Mr. Corres.
Thank you, Ginés. Thank you, Ginés. Good morning. I would like to thank. I would like to start my intervention to thank you to all the speakers for your participation in this second webinar that IDS has organized within the framework of UnvexLive. As you know, the 7th of November we had the first one, which was introduced by the Secretary General for Transport and Urban Mobility, and we had three key speakers, representatives from the Ministry of Defense, from Avionica and drone industry sites. Today's webinar, as mentioned by the moderator, will focus in two key aspects. One of them is the users, and the other one is the regulations, the regulators. I do not want to expand much more in the content of the webinar because that's the moderator responsibility. But as UnvexLive conference program coordinator, I want to take this opportunity to inform you all that the conference program preparation is going on quite well. And that's in this way because, well, thank you to the support and the meetings we are having both with national and international actors, mainly European, but not only European. Indeed, early this morning, we had a VTC with a NATO organization, NSPA. Our level of ambition when we started preparation of this event was very, very high. And I think that at this moment, I can affirm that the 9th UnvexLive editions will be the best one, will be the most international one. Once again, thank you very much, not only to the speakers, but also to the audience. And well, looking forward to meeting you all in Barcelona. Now it's time to start the webinar. Please, Ginés, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Corres. Well, let's go to our first speaker, Pere Ferrer, Director of Mossos d'Esquadra. Mr. Ferrer, when you want, you can turn on your camera and your microphone. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. Thank you very much.
It's your time. Tell us.
Let's go with the keynote. Well, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me. It's an honor to be here. And it's also a pleasure to have the UnvexLive Congress next June in Barcelona. So thank you very much for choosing our city. I want to explain very fast, but with some key points, the Catalan perspective, the Catalan police perspective on UAVs, drones. First of all, I would like to introduce you who we are, where we are, and what we do. We work in an area in Catalonia with a population of 8 million people, and we are organized as a police force with 9 regions, with over 18,000 police officers around Catalonia, with more than 6,000 specialists. We are a police with full competences, and that means that we do all functions of all police forces from all states. That's a normal one. How we are organized on the air support unit and the UAV unit. The drone unit is part from this air central unit, which has also the helicopter unit. Today we won't speak about it, and also about the air safety technical unit, which makes the investigation on accidents, air accidents. So let's talk about this unit, the UAV unit, the U-drone, like we say, the U-drone unit in Mossos d'Esquadra. What are our main operations, what are main functions? The first one is prevention and flight control systems over the cities and events on critical infrastructures. We have 2 systems, the couple system, which is a specific one from Mossos, and the SICAM control room. We also do the administrative control on flights. And then we have operational tasks like all police forces, surveillance, tactical intelligence, code management, public order, or traffic management, and even critical disaster. We also have collaborations with forestry agents on firefighters, depending on the functions like environmental conservation or life-saving and research or rescue operations. These are quite common functions, operations from all units from drones. And let's talk about the specifications of how we are working in Mossos d'Esquadra. In the field of prevention and flight control systems, we have the couple system. Couple network has nearly 30 sensors in Barcelona. This is a project, a strategic project we began 3 years ago. And for us, it's a key project because it gives the tool to the police force to manage the air key areas in the country, Barcelona, Barcelona Airport, and the petrochemical field in Tarragona, and where drones are not only detected but also located and tracked, not only the drone and also the pilot. And this system is formed with, as I said, with different sensors, and it is already working since 3 years ago. This gives us a very strategic viewpoint of the air, this use space that will be regulated very soon, and we have the possibilities to manage it. This is why we consider it a key project for us. We also have another tool, this flight schedule tool that has been developed by Mossos d'Esquadra. It's a normal platform geolocated where all flights are being reported, all authorized flights. So together with the couple system, we can know even if one flight is authorized or not, and if we have to go through it because it has a high risk or not, and to locate or to make the operation which must be done if it's a high risk for the population. Then we have this SICAM control room. SICAM control room is a 24/7 days control room for air and maritime intelligence systems. It's an integration control room from all technologies. We have presented it in the last Mobile Congress edition in Barcelona, and it's one of our key aspects to try to manage this use space over Catalonia. This system, the SICAM control room and the couple, it's already working in all big events in Catalonia, like Formula 1 in the circuit on Catalonia, in Barcelona Stadium during all different matches that are taking place there. We have also this technology during the Mobile World Congress because of its very important as a worldwide known event. So we have to install this system into during this event in Barcelona. And we also had the couple system on the SICAM control room during the America's Cup in Barcelona, the first stage, which take place last September. And in all these events, our systems detected several drones, and we had the possibility to bring them down and to take the drone and locate the person who was piloting it. We have different collaborations with different companies. During the Mobile Congress, for example, we had the collaboration with Indra, which brings us their system, their control system that was integrated in this SICAM control room. This is in the field of prevention. Let's talk about the operational support, because during the last 4 years, our UDrone unit has been implementing with several operations. This one is an example. I put the video. This is an operational air support during ground operations against an organized crime group. 2 cannabis farmers of this criminal organization tried to escape through the roof and were detected through thanks to the thermal vision of the drones. And this is one of key points that most police officers, they want our UDrone nearly in all operations in Catalonia, because it gives this special perspective. This is another example of application and operational air support during ground operations against violent members of a criminal group dedicated to home burglaries. One of the members tried to escape through the terrace from different buildings, and here you can see the spot, the red spot, and the police officers detect them, and three buildings next to the one we were entering, we detected him, and thanks to this, to the drone, we bring him to the prison, to the jail. Another example, operational support, is an tactical gathering during crowd management. We've been using this kind of operation support last years, and it has been very useful for us. This is Barcelona festival in September at 5 a.m. in the morning, and the beach is full of people. And at the end of the night, we began the operation, and the drone view gives us whether there are problems, where are people that are escaping from us, where there's no light, and we can have an operation to deploy all police forces without any problem. And this is this big support from air. Apart from this operational support, we are using drones on tactical support with the SWAT team. This is a very simple example of it, but we're working on several fields. This is our SWAT team entering to a home where there was a man, an armed person. And thanks to the drone, we had the view from different windows, and we can support directly our agents where to go if there's a risk, high risk or not. And this is giving us so much intelligence in order to be better, to be much more efficient. I would like to give two key points of what are our next steps, where we are going. For us, Mossos d'Esquadra and the UDrone unit, it's a strategic one, and we will increase our fleet of short-range drones. This year already, we are buying 24 different drones in order to give a flexible surveillance and bring it to the territory. So territorialize, decentralize our unit, and we have this kind of air support through all our land in the country. This is an investment of nearly 150,000 euros for this 2023. This is one of our big next steps in short term. By the end of this year, we are acquiring a long-range drone as a new standard for our surveillance plan, giving to us the possibility to offering flexible patrol systems and having the possibility to fly big surfaces of land, controlling, for example, everything related with marijuana, with cannabis fields that is already a problem for us in the south of Europe. And with this kind of possibilities, we will have the possibility to work in big surfaces of territory. This is an important investment, only just for one. We are acquiring this vector drone from Quantum Industries from Germany with an investment or total investment of 260,000 euros by the end of this year. And what are next steps in midterm for us? We are already working with Airbus. For us, the hubs platform from Airbus will be a new standard. We have already a collaboration with our Cartographic and Geological Institute in Catalonia, and we already began a training for our police officers in order to improve the knowledge on this technology, because we are sure that it will provide us intelligence in the field of public security, but also in criminal investigation and emergencies in Catalonia. So we are already working on it. We already had this special training for our police unit from Udron, and we are sure that it will provide us a big step forward. And maybe it's not so far from what we thought. It's maybe we'll be faster as we think. And to finish my keynote, just some challenges and opportunities. For us, the cost effectiveness of this kind of deployment capabilities has been very, very important. It has been proved that the operational efficiency and better serve our communities has been gigantic, enormous. Our police forces must adopt this technology responsibly. It's a very important kind of technology. We are working with it every day in all our operations, but respecting privacy concerns and ensuring transparency. It's a key point to maintain our public trust with citizens. Well-specialized, trained professionals, drones will undeniably be very high valuable tools in everyday police forces mission. But we have to tackle this point. We have to have well-trained professionals. It's a very specific field with long-range drones even more, and we have to ensure the training of our units. And to last, for us, specific from Catalonia, for us, Mossos d'Esquadra drone strategy led us into a new era, let's say like this, like to be clear, of police operations in Catalonia. We don't know how to work without it, even only with 3 years of deployment. And we are convinced that a sustained deployment in this field has become strategic key point for our enforcement task force. Nearly nobody in our police force want to have an operational ground support without having the drones unit working on it and helping them. And the last one for us, Mossos d'Esquadra, we are clearly moving forward decisively to acquire these new capacities, prevention field, controlling and operation, and in order to be ready for use space regulation as a present guarantee for the future key role of Catalan police in the airspace in Catalonia. So for us, we have been working hard during the last 4 years in this field on all the fields from prevention, controlling and operation. And for us, this is our future guarantee to be there, to be ready for this new deployment. Thank you very much for your attention. You have my contact information if you need something from our police force, and I'm up to you if you have any questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ferrer. Well, now let's the point of view of the European Aviation Safety Agency. For that, we have Antonio González, Safety Promotion Officer at EASA. Mr. González, it's your turn whenever you want. Good morning.
Thanks very much. Good morning. Greetings from Cologne, Germany, where right now we're in full Christmas swing with all the Christmas markets opening since a few weeks. So it's a perfect scene to already start advancing the holiday season. I imagine you have my presentation handy. Otherwise, there we go. Perfect.
Okay.
So you have control over the slides, right? Is that right?
Yes.
Perfect. Wonderful. So I'll just mention when. Yeah. I mean, first of all, let me put my occupation into some context. I am a safety promotion officer. We in EASA have a team dedicated to promoting safety. We are a regulatory European agency, which means we regulate, we write the rules, we certify products, we inspect companies, organizations, even national authorities. And this is all fine and well, but it's very cut and dry, let's say. we have identified that there is a job for us in let's say marketing the safety, and drones presents a challenge because whereas if you promote the safety in air operations, airlines, etc., general aviation, light aircraft, etc., rotorcraft, helicopters, etc., you are talking to a few 100,000 pilots, 100,000 mechanics, 100,000 safety managers. But with drones, it's a completely new environment for us. You're talking to potentially millions of people that want to fly drones. Next slide, please. So I will go through quickly explaining how we promote drones in UAS at EASA. Also, what we are promoting. This is important to get a little bit the aspects that we are trying to put emphasis. Let's not forget that we are covering the whole of Europe. Of course, every country is unique, but we are constantly wanting to hear from countries what are their particularities, and also sometimes by identifying what is unique in one country, it turns out that other countries also come out saying it's also important for us. For example, we had in Slovenia the conflict of the usage of drones in general aviation was a big problem, because they had a lot of general aviation pilots coming from Austria to train and fly in Slovenia, and sometimes they were not aware about the rules. And also brought drones, and it was an interesting situation. Next slide, please. So we'll go quickly through. Yeah, I think you have to keep clicking until, yeah, just keep clicking. Perfect. Another one, please. Thanks so much. So what we are covering is the use of drones for general aerial work. As Mr. Ferrer explained, he explained very well the police use, but we are also covering civilian use in surveying, in agricultural use, in mapping, in inspections of aircraft, but also facilities of all kinds. We're also including the use of aero models. That's also falling under the drone regulation. This is a community that has an excellent safety record, and it has been around even in some countries for 100 years. In the UK, they celebrated their 100th anniversary, and it's almost as old as aviation itself. But they also fall under the drone regulations, which presents some challenges for them, but is something that we are working for them with in understanding. And also, there's a lot of work coming from us on urban air mobility. Europe has its first framework on how to set up urban air mobility in the EU countries, and it's the first such framework in the world. And at one point, it's not yet here with us, but we will cover the use of unmanned IFR flights, so instrumental flights in using first cargo, and eventually the future will expect that we will also maybe use it for commercial use, for passenger transport. Next slide, please. So we are here covering mainly in the promotion work we are doing. We are covering what we call the open and the specific categories. The open is the use of drones by the public. So here we are not describing exactly what to do. Is more prescriptive, because here we are regulating and describing the usage of the drone and not the actual drone itself. So this is important because it sets a different kind of scene for us compared to commercial aviation. And also the specific category, which is more the professional use, is more an area where the users, the operators are having to conduct some risk assessments of their operations. And there are a number of tools that we can discuss in a bit more detail in a different conference, so we'll go very quickly through it. And then the certified category, which is drones that are piloted and can carry passengers. This is all under development at the moment, and it sets also some challenges for us, because the industry definitely is ahead in the development compared to the regulator. So we are having to catch up with them, and we are applying some new ways of certifying these products. Next slide, please. So we'll go maybe a bit quick to keep within the 10 minutes. The way we do safety promotion is important that we are mindful of these 4 points, especially the first 3. So we need to understand what audience we are addressing in our messages. The audience we find Europe-wide, that is people who, especially very young, they can be as young in some countries as 14 years of age, they can legally fly small drones, but they vary, and especially the young generations are more fond in the usage of drones. But even if they're not old, they tend to, how to say, they go to a shop, buy a drone, and open the box and start flying it, and it's fine, it's possible, but they need to be aware that they fall, they are part of a system that contains certain rules that they need to abide for, and it's important to keep the safety, and also data protection is important, and they need to understand the key messages that we provide in promotion. If they only understand some basic concepts, they will be fine to operate, and then they can dig into the regulation, which is the number two. This is why we create content at the beginning, which is simple to understand, and we just wake up in people the interest and the curiosity to dive down that funnel that you see there, and then get to more the bottom of the regulations or the different usages of drone, and get to become more proficient and more professional. And of course, we are also having to outreach. So we have to go to where people find the information. We cannot expect people to know that EASA is the place that contains all this information, that regulates all these aspects. We need to go to where the information can be found, so we need to use more the social. Next slide, please. So instead of being, I'm going to be quite honest here, instead of being the typical bureaucrat that we just produce material and we release it and we find users and operators struggling with it. Next slide, please. We are doing more of this. We are doing webinars like this one, where I was kindly invited by Unvex to participate. We have also a range of other webinars that we also explain, sometimes organized by us to clarify certain points. We produce posters, we produce information notices with, again, key messages on key aspects that we know are important to be known by the users. And also it's important for us, after 5 years, the regulations are applied and are in place to start hearing from the users the experiences they have with the implementation of the rules. Next slide, please. I will go very quickly. So the audiences that we address are small commercial operators, larger commercial operators. The small commercial operators, they sometimes tend to struggle with what they need to comply with to be a professional operator. So sometimes our promotion is specifically dedicated for them. The larger commercial operators have more resources, so it's a bit easier for them, and they, in general, they tend to do fairly well. Also manufacturers and training providers, that's also an audience that we target. US-based providers in the future, air traffic management, ANSPs providing navigation services. When the US space will be fully regulated, they will also need clarification and promotion of certain users. Thanks so much. Next slide, please. So the tone of voice that we try to create with this material, and also the way in which we can be approached, is one of being supportive. We are here to, we are not the, we don't want to be seen as the classical regulator that is only producing information and just being on the side and not connecting with the users. We want to be, for that respect, unauthoritative. We want to be clear with our content and with our tone of voice, and also appreciate that sometimes there are challenges that the users have, and we want to hear from them and hear frankly what they have to say to us. And we are happy to engage with them and to collaborate in anything they can see of need for the community and for us to know. Next slide, please. So we have material like this, for example. This is something we will publish again more or less every Christmas. We tend to remind people of the basic steps. This is an example. A lot of people get drones, well, get many things, but amongst other things, drones under the Christmas tree. So we want them to know in a simple, very graphical way. You need to get registered as an operator, you need to train as a pilot, and you need to prepare before every flight, checking the geographical zone, making sure that you're mindful of the data protection rules that are covered with the drone usage. So if they only comply with these few points, they're going to be fine. They're going to be safe and no troubles will come. I'll speed through the next slides a little bit. This is another example of now with the introduction of the C-class marking, we have already on the website these posters that categorizes and puts in a brief the main differences. So you have the one on the left that was the old classic way of producing this material. The one on the right is a bit more attractive and it creates a bit more curiosity. Next slide, please. This is an example. It's the same material translated to Polish. We translate all this material to many languages. It's very arduous. It's very painstaking, but it provides dividends. So people understand also the same messages in their own languages and become more attracted by that. Next slide, please. And I'll go very quickly. This is also other infographics that we have released on the introduction of the rules, on how to become, how to register as a drone operator, how to complete most of the times the training is done online, etc., etc. Next slide, please. And these are some information notices with introduction of the C-class marking from the 1st of January will be official. Every manufacturer can print this and include it in the box, but also this is available. So if you're operating, in this case, the C5 is more in the specific category, but this contains in a summary everything you can do and cannot do with that type of drone. Next one, please. Another example was mentioned before by Mr. Ferrer, the US space. The US space is still an unquantified, so there's a lot of discussion. It's not quite regulated, but we thought to create something like this to already explain a little bit the concept, and it was quite welcome. And actually, we are in the process of translating that to many languages. Next slide, please. This is an example of a webinar when the regulations were adopted, where we actually went through it and took many questions. This was, as you can see, at the beginning of the corona. Next slide, please. And then also very useful for us is the use of influencers. It's different when you have people who fly drones and can explain the same message. So a message that we want them to give on behalf of EASA, but they explain it in their way, using their own words. And it comes from a user, from an operator or a pilot to the operator and pilot community. So the message is way more effective. Next slide, and I think it's probably the last one. These are just some example. I'll go very quickly of the promotion we will do in 2024. We will have an update of the SORA methodology. I'm starting from the end a little bit, so that we will also promote. We will promote the what can be done or what needs to be taken into account when flying over roads, railways, the advantages of the LUC, the Light Unmanned Certificate, flying in different countries from the one of registration, and all that list that you have there. These are things we are producing videos and promotion material to explain in a simple way and using material that can be easily related to all these different concepts. So any information, any suggestions on any activities or any aspects that are not clear, we're always happy to hear from the community. And I believe that's the last the last slide. I ran over by 4 minutes, I see, but please, it's important for us to be connected with all of you. So that's our email. We check it daily, believe it or not. So any questions, any doubts, any ideas, even if you're doing a promotion campaign of your own and you want the EASA to collaborate, like Unvex was kind enough to invite me, we're always happy to join. Thanks so much. Sorry I overran a little bit.
No, it's okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Gonzalez. Well, the following is the last intervention before question time. Diego Andrés López, Plan Inspector of the oil company CEPSA, is going to tell us something about the use of drones in a sector where they are already case, such as the oil industry. Mr. López, you can start now when you turn on your camera and your microphone. Hello, good morning. Switch on your microphone, please. It's not possible.
Okay, now you can listen to me. Okay, perfect, fine. Okay, I'm going to show my screen. Okay, well, first of all, thanks everyone for attending, and thank you for inviting me and CEPSA to this webinar. So I'm going to start from the beginning, okay? Okay, so I'm going to talk about drone inspections in CEPSA, in an energy park, in a manufacturing site, okay? So these are the topics, the 3 topics I'm going to talk about today. I'm starting from the background when we started in using drones in 2016, works performed during these years, what we are expecting in the future works. Okay, so before 2016, until 2016, we were aware that drone technology was undergoing rapid development, and we have the interest on this technology. So the first thing we took a look about was the high altitude inspection, where scaffolding or rope access was needed. So we were searching for alternatives. So in 2016, we performed the first inspection in Andalusia in a manufacturing site. It can be seen, as you can see, this is from the newspaper El Mundo. The news came out all nationally, all to Spain, and it can be read. Its drone successfully performs refinery pre-inspection. So it was the first time a drone performed a flight in an aerial space. We have some difficulties. Some permissions have to be obtained because it's a restricted area, including those one from the Fomento Ministry. The inspection was done by us in collaboration with the companies La Línea Vertical and Gatec. So I'm going to show you a video of this inspection. Okay, let me see. 1 second. It's opening. Okay, there we go. It's in YouTube. Okay. Okay. So this is the first inspection we performed. And see, I don't know if you can listen to the audio, but this is the flare, one of the flares of our site. This is the technicians over the field before starting the inspections. Many people were involved. This is the flare, okay, before starting the inspection. Okay. So this is the video and some images that were obtained from this inspection. And was especially interesting the upper part of the flare, because it's impossible to see during the normal operation. You can access to the top. And it was the first time we got images from the flare. How was it working, and the defects we found during this inspection. Okay. Okay, so that was to show you some clear view of we found in this first inspection. So as it was possible to obtain a clear view of the top of the flare, the tip, and also some auxiliary things like the pipes and the state of the quoting. Okay, so this was the first one, and after that I'm going to show you more works performed. After this, we have done many different works in the equipment of refinery, like more flares inspections, tanks inspections from the exterior, from the inside, chimney inspection, and pipe inspections. So the next flare inspections, there were several flare inspected. One that I see as a relevant one was in 2018 in the Plan de Brisur. This was also inspected with a new development of the drone that has the new capability it was to take measurements in the wall thickness measurement of the flare we were inspecting. So apart from the previous information we got in 2016, like images and videos, we also have wall thickness measurements in this equipment. Okay, so continuing with more inspections we performed was also we have done internal inspection of atmospheric tanks. Okay, these drones are specifically designed so for the interior of the tank. As you can see, it has like an armor from the exterior, so it won't damage when in flight. So with this inspection, we can have information about the coating condition, plate condition, and internal conditions of the tank. Okay, so here are some images from the interior of a tank inspected by this drone. It's a very nice, very good technique, because you can get information from the inside in the tank without scaffolding, without altitude access, which takes a lot of time, a lot of money. And the interesting thing is the savings, the money savings that you can get from traditional inspection, and time also, because you can inspect in one day, perform all the inspection of the interior of the tank, especially the altitude parts, and not many days like in traditional inspection. Okay, and also let's talk about the external inspection of atmospheric tanks. In this case, we are having a new development of the drone, because there was a joint venture between CEPSA, the companies I mentioned before, like New Vertical, Catec, and with this joint venture there was a project called ICDrone, a joint venture supported by the funds of the European Union, and this was a new development of the drone. And as it can be seen, it's also taking images. You can have we are expecting from the exterior tanks in oil refinery, and we are also taking plate thickness measurements. Okay. More about external inspection of atmospheric tanks. In this case, we use a different device with other companies, and we were taking pictures with thermographic and standard cameras from many tanks at the same time. So we were performing inspection for many tanks at the same time, getting information, relevant information, especially about corrosion and coating and the coating condition of these tanks. As you can see, we have found, for instance, in this tank, some small defects in the coating and auxiliary pipes. Also, talking about more inspection, we have performed Gemini inspections. We are very high equipment, over 120 meters. So in this case, it was very interesting to perform with drones similar. The drones use, as you can see, we have IR images and standard images getting from the drone, and was very interesting to perform it, because we don't have to use raw access. It was all done by all the images were obtained with only using the drone. And finally, talking about pipes, I'm talking about many fixed equipment refinery. Also, pipe inspection was performed by drones. In this case, as you can see, where many pipes at the same time were inspected, and we have found some defects on the coating and the heat insulation. And this was very interesting for us, because as in other kinds of inspections, we are talking about many equipment inspected at the same time, and very fast. This is all we are getting with this technology. So just going to the end of the presentation, let's talk about the future inspections. What we have planned in the short term in the next months, in January, we have planned to inspect again the Bristol flare with this new drone development. This drone is, let's say, an improvement from the IC-drone project, where CEPSA and more companies were involved. And this is, well, just to talk about this drone, is manufactured by company BESS, and it's smaller, it's faster, and especially for us, what it takes, what is interesting is, again, thickness measurements on plates of equipment. In this case, we're going to take measurements, thickness measurements in the flare to know the condition, if there's corrosion and things like that. And it takes continuous measurements. So it takes a robot at the end of the drone, that it takes a continuous measurement, not punctual, not only one point, another point like we done before. So this is an interesting improvement for us. So we are really expecting to perform this inspection next month. So this was our presentation. Again, thank you very much for attending. I hope you liked our presentation.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you, Mr. Lopez. Stay with us, please.
Okay.
Because well, I'm going to ask Mr. Ferrer and Mr. Gonzalez to join us again, because we have reached question time. And first question is for Mr. Ferrer, that is here with us. Hello again. Well, Mr. Ferrer, are you worried about the growing use of drones due to the security problems they may cause?
We are working on it because it's clear that we are finding some of them in nearly all events where thousands of people. And just it's a question of public safety. I've been talking with Formula One organizers, and I told them, for us, it's critical to have this coupled system in the circuit of Catalonia, because if one man from there trying to fly a UAV drone in the circuit and falls down, it's catastrophic for the event. And if it's happening in Barcelona, it falls. 2 years ago, we had a drone from 10 kilo flying over 300 meters, taking very nice pictures from the city at night. And it's a clear risk. For me, what has been very surprising is that up to the moment we had the sensors, the coupled system, we found thousands of this kind of machines flying over Barcelona. Most of them without risk, because they are the small ones, but we found some ones that are very risky from the public safety point. So this one, it was a professional photographer, but if we didn't have the system, we won't detect it anymore. And this is critical. And it happens more and more in all events, from crowd events in Barcelona, and normally days we have several alerts. Mm-hmm. And this is why we are investing on this coupled system. I know we were the first city in Europe to have this system. It's expensive, but it's giving us a lot of intelligence and trying to monitorize what's happening up there in this first stage of the sky. It's very important for us because it's a guarantee for our commitment with the public safety.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Gonzalez, next for you. Are drone licenses from outside Europe valid in Europe as well?
Not today. What I mean by this is that EASA has the ability to negotiate bilateral agreements with other countries outside the EU. And as far as I can think, the aspect of drones in general, and indeed the recognition of licenses, is not at the moment in the negotiating table. we get this question a lot because this is the good thing about especially the public use of drones. You have a lot of drone tourism, so people that come, obviously China being the 80% of the drones that are commercially available, or even more, come from China. So a lot of users from China come to many places, including Europe, with the drone, but also the US, and sometimes they fall under the impression that their FAA in the US license is applicable in Europe as well. And I must admit, there are certain similarities which would make it so a drone pilot with a US license, I'm sure, would be aware of the broad safety rules, would be capable of conducting an operation in Europe, and would but he or she coming from outside the EU needs to definitely register in an EU country. First of all, the process is not complex, and he would need, or she would need, to get a EU license, which is also not a complicated process. Many countries in the EU offer also courses in English, and is even for example, Luxembourg is free of charge, Ireland I think is free of charge, Malta I think is also free of charge, and if they charge something, it's really something symbolic. So that would be those two steps would be necessary for people coming from outside EU to register in the first EU country or the EU country where they want to do the operation, the first one that they come, and it's valid for all the EU countries. They only need to do it once, and also to get an EU pilot certificate.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Mr. Lopez, are you expecting new developments in drone inspection after continuous thickness measurement?
Yes, right now we are looking forward to get new developments and to prove it here. So, for instance, another kind of non-destructive testing. Okay, like this was one of the most. This one is very interesting. But for instance, penetrant liquids could be a new development, or also we are also thinking about angular thickness measurement and new technology. Also, this is done. This is normally done in normal inspections, but we also want to take these developments in drone inspection. Could be very interesting in high altitude, where we find many difficulties to reach them with our drones. So in the future, it could be very interesting to have new developments.
Mr. Gonzalez, again, is it possible to do something to accelerate drone regulations, or should we be cautious, and is it better not to?
Well, that's an interesting question. There's always a balance. As I said in my presentation, drones pose a unique challenge and opportunity for us at the agency. When it comes to urban air mobility, we find that the traditional way of certifying people carrying drones, or they call it air taxis these days as well, we would be way behind the industry developments, and we would be handicapping the introduction and the development of this huge area in aviation. It's part of aviation anyways, if we did not innovate in the way we regulate. So this is, for example, why we are finding that with air taxis, for example, we need to apply special conditions. So is basically an amalgamation of the rules that are useful for the urban air taxis coming from the GA sector, coming from rotorcraft sector, and making it as safe as possible, because the same principles as aviation are applicable in when you're carrying passengers, but also efficient and light and fast enough to be able to allow the industry to proceed with their developments. And in terms of drones, I guess as I was saying, the key for us is the promotion. The rules are there for a reason. I know a lot of feedback we get is for example, with introduction of the ID system sensor, that will be a requirement in small drones from 1st of January 2024. We get the questions of like, well, if I am using it in a private property, I don't need this system in my drone, and it costs about €100. But it is there for the safety, and is there to allow people to identify, have the power to identify the source of this drone, and is there to keep the whole drone operation and environment under a certain control. So those that comply with the rules have nothing to fear. It's only those that are unaware or do it for malicious intent that is where they will find some issues, obviously.
Mr. Lopez, this is an area that is advancing very quickly. Do you think that in 10 or 15 years, for example, the oil industry will use drones very differently than it does now?
I think that's a possibility, could be, because year by year we are using drones more. We have planned more inspection during 2024 and during the next years, and we are hoping to use drones in a way that will facilitate us to have, much to perform inspections faster in some places, more than now, and we hope to use it more and more during the future, and to reach new places and new inspections that right now are almost impossible to do. Everything related to altitude is very difficult to perform without drones.
Mr. Ferrer, the last for you. How important is an event like Unvex for the police, for the Mossos d'Esquadra in this case?
For us, it's a pleasure having it in Barcelona, and Unvex in Barcelona will be a very special moment for us, because it's a way of meet us our project of the drone development with a special event like Unvex in Barcelona, where we will be able to show what the police of Catalonia has done in this field. And we are working with several companies, and for us it will be a great pleasure to come with them and show all public how the Mossos d'Esquadra is working until now. For us, it's a big challenge. As I said before, Mossos d'Esquadra in all ground operations don't want to work if there's no air support from the drone units. So for us, Unvex, it's a big opportunity to know other companies, other ways of working, and presenting us to the Congress as a police which is modern, that wants to improve even more in this field, from the air control, prevention, and operational support.
Okay, well, we have reached the end of this webinar. I say goodbye to our guests by sincerely thanking them for their useful presentation. Mr. Ferrer, thank you very much. Mr. Gonzalez, thank you very much as well. And Mr. Lopez, thank you very much. You can now turn off your microphones and cameras. Well, to finish, I just want to remember you that UnvexLive is a digital platform where anyone interested can find information and interact with each other to become finally in a meeting agenda. You can now check the Unvex 24 digital channel, UnvexLive, in unvex.es. Now you have more information on the websites infodron.es and infodefensa.com. See you. That's all. Good morning.